with what Kathy has been doing, I feel like she really has earned the title Assistant City Manager. I don't know what you think, because she's been the interim Assistant City Manager. So I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, I thought assistant. Yeah, I guess I'm.
6 o'clock. We have a little bit of order. I got a little bit of business to take care of because it seems like we've got way over our capacity for the room, which I'm no longer the fire chief, so I don't have to call you. But we do have a lot of people and we've got a lot of business to take care of tonight. So please have patience with us and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kathy, roll call, please.
Mayor Pat Scanlon.
Here.
Councilmember Ben Argol is excused. Councilmember Brett Argol.
Here.
Councilmember Jason Chapman.
I am here.
Councilmember Kurt Kipling.
Here. All right. Looking for approval of the agenda. What's your pleasure?
So moved.
Support?
A motion and support to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Public comment. Claudia?
Claudia Demers, 821 Murray Street. I'd like to welcome our new city manager, Randy Schultz. Now I'd like to address a couple of items. One being the tennis courts. I just happen to have a copy of the land lease in my basement between the Ishpeming School District and the city of Ishpeming. The term of the lease is for 50 years, commencing June 1st, 2006, and ending May 31st, 2056. The rent for this agreement is $1 a year. On page 2 of the lease, item number 4, purpose. The premises shall be used as an athletic facilities complex. The district shall construct facilities pursuant to an improvement plan developed by the district with the proposed tennis courts, track, football field, stadium, locker room building, and public restrooms, and a concession building, the project. Number 8, maintenance by the district. I'm not going to read this whole thing since I only have 5 minutes, but it says the district shall be solely responsible at its expense for maintaining the premises and all improvements on the premises in good condition and repair. Except the city shall be responsible for repair, relocation, maintenance, and or replacement of the existing storm sewer lines. And on it goes. If anyone wants a copy of this lease, contact the city or the school. And you don't even have to be a lawyer to understand that it is written very clearly. And item number 11, resolution for support for a West End Youth Center. As long as they're not asking the city for money or someone to write grants or finding them a building, I'm okay with a youth center. Has this group approached Bonnie or Ishpeming Township since it's supposed to be a West End youth center? Maybe they should try raising some money themselves. A month or so ago, I saw a 9-year-old girl who was trying to raise $500 for a park and ended up raising $57,000. What an accomplishment for a 9-year-old. Any extra money this city has should be put into repairing our deplorable streets. Over on 7th Street, there was a water leak 4 years ago, and that is still dirt, and that is not the only one. Even if you can't redo the infrastructure, you can't just not fix what we have. Take a ride up to the hospital. The road is awful. You can't keep kicking this can down the roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Anyone else for public comment? Just a reminder, when you get to the podium, make sure you give us your name and address, please.
Caitlin Rich, 784 Mather Avenue in Ishpeming. I'm a teacher, well, no, just kidding. I'm now an assistant principal and the athletic director at Ishpeming. I don't know how anybody can look at these kids and talk about the city is solely responsible, blah, blah, whatever. This has to be a partnership. It's been great in my time in Ishpeming between the school district and the city. We have to. And I know that I'm a Hematite and I bleed blue and white through and through. We might not all be that way. I am. This has to be.
Caitlin, I'm sorry, are you referring to the tennis court?
Yeah, sorry, Mayor Scanlon, yes. This is all, I am here to talk about tennis courts. And people, being in the school district, I get to interact with these kids all day, every day. And they are amazing, and they came here because I asked them to. They came here because they care about their athletics. They care about bringing pride to not only our school, but our community. And I heard the comment, oh, you guys keep winning championships, obviously you don't need new courts. No, we're doing that in spite of what our courts look like. These kids are gritty, they are Hematites. They are doing it in spite of what they look like. They're terrible. They're dangerous. It's a liability. I don't know what the contract says for per basement, but it has to be a partnership where we work together. The school district is willing to put in the same amount of money. And being the athletic director, I guess I'm just confused on what happened, the breakdown between like last year, like it was almost a year ago that I was here talking about it, and it was allocated, and now it sounds like this, I don't know, gone off the rails, but I'm just asking that maybe we table this. Don't decide no today. Like maybe we table this. Because now it sounds like they're gonna be torn up, and maybe that benefits the city and the school, that we are gonna work together to do it, that, whatever, but I just feel like this has gotten to a place where it's like contentious, and that's not what it should be. Because if you look over there, that is what we're helping. We're not even helping only them. Like, I don't know, Pat Lewitt's not here tonight, but like they play pickleball, she plays tennis. It's not just these kids, and I don't know how anybody could say no to just these kids, but anybody can play tennis, anybody can play pickleball. Have we even looked at talking to the National Pickleball Association? They give money out every year, tons. Gladstone's courts are funded by that. I just think there's other ways that we can go about this, looking into other grants. I had one of my friends who worked at the University of Montana already tonight looking for other grants that we could possibly apply for. We're in a weird cycle in the school year, so it's probably not happening obviously this year, but please don't just blow this up. Please don't vote no. Even if it's a tabling, like I would love to be in this conversation. Because I have the city, the school district, these kids' best interests at heart. I'm not gonna be rude about it. I'm not gonna write snarky emails. Not saying that happened, but I'm just saying, I want to work with us. I don't want just what's best for the school district. I am born and bred here. I bleed blue and white. I want what is best for our city, the school, and if that's waiting one more year, we've waited how many years?
52.
It's been a long time. If we have to wait one more, whatever, but I just feel like there's so many more conversations that could be had. Maybe we just do those upper two this year, because it wouldn't be torn up by the city project. You know, I just think that there's a lot more avenues we could look down. I would love to be a part of that conversation. I have a lot to say, as you can tell. I just don't want to see that allocated money that we were, you know, that was allocated last year go away. So that's all. And like, we did not show up as like an angry mob. We didn't want to make the new city manager like nervous, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, like, that is not the intention. Because we know it's your first meeting. Like, that was not the intention. The intent, it's to show you that these kids care. They matter. Taking this many kids on a random night after 6 o'clock to come here, it shows, it means something. And it's not just the kids. So please don't just swipe this away, make it go away. I'm asking that we can sit down and talk about it.
Very good, thank you,
Thank you.
Caitlin. Anybody else? Timmy?
Timothy Harris, 1040 Wabash Street. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Patty.
Thanks, buddy.
Listen, I'm not here to fight or ruffle feathers either. I'm just trying to follow up on everything we've been doing. And if we can kind of table it, we'll be fine. We can work something out between all of us. We have a new manager here from Tomahawk and Chippewa Falls, so appreciate it. If I make our not a loss in Tomahawk. So, like I said, let's just all try to work together and we can resolve this issue. That's my thoughts on it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. Either one of the groups.
Okay, well, we're
Both.
gonna stand up here, yes, but we're not gonna talk about tennis, so is there any other tennis people
Yeah, there's
that
lots
wanna talk? Cause we're,
Anybody else from the tennis group want to talk?
Yeah, please.
okay, so we'll wait till we finish.
Good evening, Brian Searle, 634 North Fifth Street. And I am here to speak about tennis courts, and I guess I would challenge the entire city council, anyone here tonight, to find a source of greater pride than the success of our athletic teams from Ishpeming High School. It's why thousands of us taxpayers will travel to East Lansing or Detroit or wherever it might happen to be to support our young athletes, because we know they're our future. And if we turn our back on them, we have no future. Plain and simple. Yes, the school district took on that responsibility in partnership with the city to maintain the playgrounds. And thank God for Jerry and Ed Asumla and the incredible job that they do down there. It's never looked better. Everyone knows that. And that's the school district taking it on. Now, those facilities aren't just used by high school athletes. Those facilities are used by everyone in this community. People walking the track, people playing on the tennis courts who are willing to take that risk of their health by playing on those. Not to mention other activities that take place. It's constantly people down there. Okay, and the school district took on that responsibility because we understand that's a key landmark for our city. And it should be a source of pride. It always has been. But it's pretty difficult to take any pride in those tennis courts. It's an embarrassment to our community. And the fact that other communities work so closely with their school districts to make sure that they provide everything needed, not only for their young people. I'm a senior citizen. You know, I love to play pickleball too. And there's a lot of people in this community, and maybe more importantly outside this community, who would love to come and use those facilities and stop at our restaurants and those types of things as well. It's just, you know, we've made some great strides, I felt, just as a passive bystander watching from afar, of cooperation between the school district and the city. It hasn't always been that way. For too long, there was just this wall built up by the city council that didn't want to cooperate with the school district. And at times almost felt like we were ugly stepsister or something like that. But I'll tell you what, these young people bust their rear ends for our community. And they represent us with tremendous pride. And very seldom have they ever asked anything from this city. They've given so much to this city, but what have they ever asked for? In this case, they're asking for a decent facility to play on. A facility that, despite the fact that they're willing to risk their health by practicing in those facilities, they continue to win state championship after state championship after state championship. Now, you can turn your back on that and say they're not worthy, but I'll tell you what, you're jeopardizing our future. And that sends a pretty loud message to other families that might think about moving this community as to, is this the best place to be? So I ask you to consider that before you back out of an arrangement that was made with the school district. It just looks terrible for all of us in this community.
Thank you, Brian. Gotta get a stenographer. All right, anybody else? Dave? Are you tennis courts?
Negative.
Could we hold off then? I wanna get the Bertucci's back.
Oh, sure.
Are there any other tennis people? One more call for tennis people. All right, now the Bertucci's. And thank you all for coming. And your city council loves you, so.
Thank you.
Your Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and City Manager, I am Janice Bertucci of 801 North Maple Street, and this is my husband Jim. We're here tonight in the hopes that we can continue our discussions with the mayor, council members, and city manager, and come to a solution to our sidewalk issue that works for all of us. To backtrack, for those of you that aren't familiar with our situation, it began with the Empire Street project in 2022. Before the gravel was applied to the newly graded road, we could see that it was noticeably higher in elevation than the floor of our garage, and we attempted to stop the project so the error could be corrected. Although many conversations were held, the project continued, and when all was said and done, our garage floor was more than 8 inches below the edge of the road. This is close to a foot higher than it was before the project. Eventually, so that drainage from the sidewalk would not result in water entering our garage, Mr. Fugini and the engineers at UPEA decided that the problem could be solved by creating the sidewalk that you will see in pictures Jim is completing in here. The valley, or sort of wedge in the center, acts as a place where water and debris can collect, and also the design makes it difficult for low clearance vehicles to easily enter and exit the garage. Also, the sidewalk no longer conforms with ADA and MDOT requirements, and the sidewalk cannot be plowed to remove snow when necessary. We hoped to correct the errors that were made. At first, we were in conversations with UPEA because they were responsible for engineering the project. Multiple texts were sent, phone calls made, meetings were held. We were told that Mr. Fugini was contacted and invited, but unable to meet. Finally, in March of 2024, we sent a letter to Ken Dillinger of UPEA, Mr. Fugini, and Jeff West, UPEA president at the time. We met at UPEA offices, but again, Mr. Fugini was not in attendance, and we had hoped the city and UPEA could work together to agree to assist us. However, in June of 2024, we were contacted by Ken Dillinger of UPEA and told during that call that UPEA felt this wasn't on them. We decided to attend the next council meeting and emailed council members. They were invited to stop at our house and view the sidewalk before the meeting so they could clearly see our concerns. Several of you did, and we thank you for that. At the July meeting, we discovered that Mr. Fugini had not ever discussed our concerns with the council, so no one was even aware of what had been done. It was then that Mayor Scanlon, after listening to our presentation, announced that this was the responsibility of the city. They hired UPEA and they signed up on the project. At that meeting, we were told they would work with us to find a solution. We attended the August council meeting and also met with Mayor Scanlon and Grant. We discussed possible solutions and were advised it might be best for us to file a claim with the city's insurance company. We were told by Grant that he would personally speak with the insurance representative to admit the city had messed up. We did this in November, and we're told it would likely not be decided upon until January or February. Recently, we received a letter from Grant informing us that our claim was excluded from coverage by the city's insurance company. Also mentioned in the letter was the non-standard setback of our garage as being a key factor in conforming the sidewalk and garage to the new road grade. However, it should be noted that the city approved a variance for our garage when it was built on the same spot to replace the original garage. It was always our hope to be able to raise our garage and replace the current sidewalk with one that conforms with both MDOT and ADA requirements. We were never under the impression that any conversations we had were final offers or the end of our discussions, and we hope that that's not the case here. Since our insurance claim was denied, we're hoping the council will be willing to continue to work with us so this problem can be solved. And Jim has pictures for those of you who weren't at our garage before. And also copies of what I just said, if any of you would like it to be able to.
I've already been over there. I've already been there, Jim. Yeah. I was over there actually this morning.
I'm good, I still have mine.
No, you know me, I'm still not. It's Jim.
All right, thank you, guys. Next, David.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm Dave Angus from 112 West Clark Street Drive. And I just want to say, extend welcome to the area to your new city manager, Mr. Schultz. I will keep it short. I hope you do a good job for the city of Ishpeming as our city manager is doing in the county and is continuing. So again, welcome to the area. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Who's next? Anyone for public comment? Gentleman in the back, please remember to state your name.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Jim Hayward, and I reside at 103A East Buffalo Road in the County Township. And I'm here tonight because there's a movement in Marquette County by anti-fluoridationists to remove the fluoride from city water for Ishpeming, Negaunee, and Marquette. And I wanted to speak to that as a long-serving dental professional in Marquette County. And I'd like to make 2 points here. The first is, in looking at water fluoridation and its dental decay preventing benefits, one must consider the amount of fluoride that best provides this benefit without causing untoward side effects. Some 80 years of extensive science-based research has been put into community water fluoridation, and the Centers for Disease Control and the National Institute of Dental Research have recommended that community water be fluoridated at 1.5 parts per million in order to optimally prevent tooth decay. In 2023, that level of fluoridation was reduced slightly to 0.7 to 1.2 parts per million of fluoride in order to take into account the exposure of residents to fluoride in toothpaste and also fluoride mouthwashes. A study released by the National Toxicology Program in January of this year studied the effects of fluoride, high levels of fluoride in various countries around the world on cognitive abilities and IQs in children. And anti-fluoridationists are using this study to support their rationale for removing fluoride from the water. In these studies, all of the countries and studies in question, in natural fluoride in water is far greater than recommended levels for community water fluoridation. And so that study, one of the conclusions was that they could not show that there was any relationship between community water fluoridation of 1.5 parts per million and IQ levels dropping in children in those communities. So this study has been used as a, basically as a scare tactic, and you may hear this in future meetings as you are concerned with the future of water fluoridation in Ishpeming and the county. And I hope that you will take into consideration the different levels of water fluoridation that we're talking about here. Just as a dental professional, I am very much in favor of and have experienced the benefits of water fluoridation in our communities in reducing the decay level in our communities' children. Yeah, would be very upset about that being removed. My second point relates to access to dental care, the cost of dental decay treatment, and the potential psychological trauma to children in having decayed or abscessed teeth treated, especially as it relates to our low-income families and children in Marquette County. After 18 years of horrendous dental decay in low-income children from around the UP not having access to community water fluoridation, I could say with total confidence that an ounce of prevention, i.e. water fluoridation, is more than worth a pound of cure. And so I just want to encourage you to consider those points as this issue comes before you, and I thank you for your attention.
Jim, thank you. I have one question, one council person that has a question.
Doctor, do you notice a difference in people's teeth coming from a community that has fluoride in their water versus a community that doesn't?
Yes.
Okay, simple answer, that's all.
Definitely, when I was at the health department's children's dental clinic in Marquette, I could tell whether children were in a fluoridated community or if they were not, just by the decay levels I was seeing in their mouths. There was a big difference between, for instance, Marquette children on community water fluoridation and children outside of Marquette and the Cherry Creek School. And similar situation in communities of Kewanee and Ishpeming that were having fluoridated water versus children on well water or in communities that did not have water fluoridation, such as Houghton, Hancock, and Paramount.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Are there any other dentists that want to? I'm not ruling anybody out, just like to get the dentist first. Ryan?
Thank you. My name is Dr. Brian Anderson. I'm at 229 Shoreline Drive in County, longtime Ishpeming resident otherwise. I'm a dentist serving the Ishpeming area with over 15 years of experience, including hospital-based care for children and handicapped in our communities. I'm here tonight to speak firsthand on the necessity for the continued fluoridation of our water system. Fluoride is a naturally occurring element of the planet. Fluoride makes its way into our water sources organically. Certain areas of the country do not need to fluoridate their water. Colorado, for example, has many areas of naturally occurring levels of fluoride in their water. Decades ago, epidemiologists discovered that tooth decay rates in these areas was significantly lower than the surrounding areas. Research determined the fluoridation of their water to be the reason for this. There's a benefit to fluoridation of water at 0.7 parts per million fluoride. This is the level of fluoridation the city of Ishpeming is necessary to note that any chemical or substance, sodium, potassium, water, etc., ingested above recommended levels can cause significant problems. We are here advocating for the recommended dose of 0.7 parts per million. The recent attention to fluoride comes from the National Toxicology Report, which underwent 2 attempts for peer review by the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. They were rejected as bad science for including studies with poor quality. The 3rd attempt, they brought their argument to a judge in San Francisco rather than back to the Academy and argued that fluoride levels twice of what is considered safe, not the recommended 0.7 parts per million. In the initial water fluoridation studies done in the 1940s, it was shown that there was a 60% decline in the amount of cavities in children in the communities where the fluoride was available in municipal water sources. In 2011, the city of Calgary in Canada discontinued their fluoride program and saw a dramatic increase in cavities in children within 10 years. There was a significant and substantial increase in children being seen in the hospitals for IV antibiotic use and a need to perform dental surgery in an operating room setting. Many individuals do not realize that untreated decay can lead to serious consequences, including death. The bottom line is fluoridation of municipal water is thoroughly scientifically studied and a public health success that will have detrimental consequences in this community for decades to come if it is discontinued. The city of Ishpeming has a moral obligation to protect its constituents. Taking fluoride out of the water supply will take away for some the only defense they have against cavities. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We, just to give council an opportunity to either one of you two have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. All right, who else? Any other dentists? What's your name and address, please?
Rebecca Mino. I live at 725 Clark Street in Nagani. I am a registered dental hygienist and a dental health educator with the Mark County Health Department. I have lived in the Ishpeming Nagani area my entire life. I too support water fluoridation. In my 37 years plus working with private practice and public health, I do believe that water fluoridation does help our children are most vulnerable. Just to give you a little bit of history about the water fluoridation in our area, the history that I read back in our mining journal was in 1964 that Ishpeming did add fluoride to the water. That was the year I was born. So I can happily say that I do still drink the water from the Ishpeming Nagani Water, or Nagani Ishpeming Water Authority, and I am blessed with no cavities at this stage in my life. And I truly believe that does have something to do with the water that I drank in this area. My uncle was a dentist from Ishpeming. He was born and raised here too. Dr. Zulke. He was an established dentist in the Market County area. He did have an office in Bloom and later moved into the Market area, and he too supported the water fluoridation in our community. I also screen children's teeth, and I have worked with Dr. Hayward at our dental clinic, and I also, when I'm screening the children's teeth presently and in the past, I can tell which children come from an area where the water is fluoridated and where their water is not fluoridated. It's easy to tell. I also have read the article in the study of Calgary, Alberta. They did take the water out of fluoride in 2011. And then in 2018, they did have an increase at their Alberta Children's Hospital for children to be put on IV antibiotics due to the dental infection from tooth decay. The increase that I read in the particular article was 700%. Yes, fluoride is the 13th most common element in our Earth's crust. It is, it's in water, it's in the soil, it's in the rock. And how wonderful is it that we are able to control that dose so it is safe for everybody to benefit from. I have complete trust and faith in our water authority. I know that they are testing the water and they are checking the water daily. Again, what Dr. Hayward said too is prevention is definitely the best medicine. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any other dental hygiene advocates? Ma'am?
I'm supporting Rebecca because she got a hold of me in the last week. I work at Dr. Buck's office. I live in Harvey. I've been a hygienist since 1988. I've been up here for 14 years and I worked with Dr. Hayward.
Okay. We'll take that as a yes, otherwise you have to go up to the podium. Would you, yeah, state your name and address.
Christine Ryan, 177 Dana Lane. And that's in Marquette. And I worked 9 years community at MCDC with Dr. Hayward. I worked the first year with him, which I was very fortunate because he is definitely for the children and the community. And I've worked since 1988 as a dental hygienist. I used to work downstate. I worked rural. I've seen many communities without fluoride in their water, and I've seen quite a few up here with it in their water. And now I'm concerned about Glen because that's where I work, is Dr. Buck's office, and I think Glen needs to put it back in their water too. What else am I gonna say? When I worked at MCDC, I could tell the children that worked or had fluoridated water and the children that had well water. So I am supporting the fluoride in the water.
Okay, thank you, Christine.
As long as it's regulated, yes. Thank you.
Anyone else on fluoride?
Hello, Caitlin Wetton, 571 Lakewood Lane in Marquette. So my name is Dr. Caitlin Wetton. I'm currently a dentist at 906 County Dentistry in Ishpeming. For myself, I'm here to support community water fluoridation, and I would say that for more than 80 years, fluoride has helped to reduce cavities and therefore dental infection. Fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral proven to help protect dental health and remains a critical player in the prevention of dental diseases, both in office and at home. Before water fluoridation was introduced, dental cavities were very prevalent and impacted a large portion of the population, causing pain, suffering, and the need for costly dental treatment. Many people were left with no teeth at all. At 0.7 parts per million, an appropriate and safe dosage, fluoride helps to prevent dental disease and pain. Community water fluoridation is easily the most cost and time-effective way to help promote dental health in our communities, and it benefits everyone. Ending fluoridation would impact the entire community, but would be especially harmful to our most vulnerable populations. We've been mentioning children, but also the elderly and those with special needs. These members of our communities often have difficulty accessing dental care and receiving care easily. If water fluoridation were to be eliminated from our community, we will definitely see the negative effects unravel over the years to come, with increases in dental pain causing decreased quality of life. We would also see increased burden on both the dental and medical systems and its providers, with more patients seeking treatment for dental caries, toothaches, and abscesses. Toothaches can come on quickly, sometimes overnight, and they can cause people to be unable to attend work, school, and do their daily activities. Our local dental specialists are already booking out months in advance due to the demand, and there are only a few general dental offices that are still accepting new patients. We are currently in a dentist shortage. If we eliminate fluoride, this shortage will be exacerbated, and I expect that it will take even longer to get into a dental office once a patient is already experiencing discomfort, pain, or even infection. Finally, our dental health is connected to our systemic health, which a lot of the times is not the main focus. When someone has a tooth infection, the infection has the possibility of spreading beyond the mouth and becoming life-threatening. A severe dental infection can spread into the bloodstream and find its way directly to the heart, which can cause endocarditis. Or it can also spread underneath the chin, causing blood-winged angina and blocking the airway. While this doesn't happen with every tooth infection, removing fluoride, a decades-long scientifically proven public health aid, will increase the amount of dental cavities and dental abscesses, increase the number of dental infections requiring antibiotics, and decrease the time that our local providers have available for everybody. I urge you all to consider the grander positive effects that this simple addition to our water has for all citizens. You have the unique chance to advocate for our most vulnerable populations, especially our kids, elderly, and those with special needs, who often have the most difficult time with access to dental care. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wetton. Any other dental?
Good evening, Bill Ballard, 3135 Wright Street, Marquette.
Is that the third?
That's the third. I'm a dentist in Marquette Township. I'm here to speak tonight in favor of community water fluoridation. I see a lot of teeth, including many from Ishpeming. I've seen the benefits of using fluoride, and I've seen the harm of cavities in individuals who choose to stop using fluoride. It's one of our best weapons in the battle against cavities because it does two things. It makes the animal more resistant to acid, which causes cavities, and it fights cavity-causing bacteria by stopping them from producing acid. I can tell you that fluoride is removed from the water, we will see an increase in cavities, tooth infections, and missing teeth. The most common chronic childhood illness in the U.S. is dental decay. It's a battle we've been fighting for a long time, and we are not winning. And I'll echo Dr. Wetton that perhaps you've tried to get a dental appointment lately. We are in severe shortage of dental professionals right now. We are not equipped to handle more tooth decay. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Anyone else on fluoride? Go ahead.
Good evening, my name is Dave Campana, I live at 1711 Grandview Drive in Marquette. I want to thank you for allowing me to come to speak to you tonight. I'm a retired pharmacist. I've worked a number of years in Lansing. I worked a little over a year in Denver, and I spent the majority of my working career here in Marquette County. I spent about 10 or 12 years working in Snyder's on the highway, sold a lot of fluoride there. Then I bought a store in Marquette, and that's where I finished my career. So I've had a lot of exposure to selling fluoride. I know a little bit about it. I will say, when it comes to fluoride, there's only two things you need to know. It's safe and it's effective. That's all you gotta know. It's safe and it's effective. I'm aware of over 3,000 studies done by respected, professional, unbiased, trusted organizations, such as the American Medical Association, the American Dental Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, World Health Organization, CDC, it goes on, I got a long list here. They have all studied fluoride. They've all published reports. They all endorse fluoride. Fluoride's a good thing. It's safe, it's effective. At 0.7 parts per million. Remember that number, 0.7 parts per million. That's what all the cities, municipalities use. They don't go higher than that. They may go lower. A safe limit has been established at 4.0, but nobody goes that high. 0.7 is 1/6 of that. That's what the city of Marquette and the Donnie District use. And I commend your city for doing that. You do not know the great service you're doing for people of your city by having fluoridated water. Fluoride is in the ground. It's in every body of water everywhere. You can't escape it. It's there. It's just not at the level that you need to have efficient working, anti-cannabis. It's a natural substance. It's not man-made. It is not a drug. It is not a medicine. People will say that. By the way, I meant to say, we're here because we expected an anti-fluoride to show up. We did not show up. So obviously we were here to, put our side in it. Anyway, they will say that. They'll say it's a drug, it's a medicine, it doesn't belong in water. Well, that's not true. The only time it's a drug is when it's by prescription, in drops, and tablets. Governed by the FDA. It's legal. It can be had. Fluoride coming out of the ground, this is where they like to harp on it. they'll call it fertilizer byproduct, they call it toxic waste, they got all kinds of nasty names to it. But fluoride coming from the ground is an additive, it's not a drug, it's an additive. And this is governed by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, perfectly legal. That fluoride coming out of the ground is pretty nasty. You know, I'll get that, they'll say that. But if you remember your chemistry from high school, a chemical reaction takes place where they purify it, they add to it, they subtract to it. When you take a product and you do a chemical reaction, you can take properties that are really bad, turn it in, 180 degrees difference. By the time it hits the water, that treatment plant, it's perfectly safe. It's perfectly safe. That's why you have people who are trained to observe it, watch it, monitor it. Okay, let's talk about being effective. Every single study that's ever been done says it works. You've heard the dentist, registered dental hygienist talk about it. It prevents cavities in teeth. That's not even an argument. Not even an argument. You cannot, at 0.7 parts per million, you cannot prove that it causes any danger, any harm, any illness, etc. It's safe, it works, 100%. Safety. It's never been proved harmful at 0.7 parts per million. Never. You're going to get people to say it causes cancer, thyroid problems, diminished IQ. That's what they don't tell you is that they use it's because they use high levels of fluoride, much more than 0.7. Triple the amounts. Some of these studies are done. A lot of studies are not done in this country that trying to prove fluoride to be a bad thing. Why don't they do it in this country? I don't know. But they do it in Canada, they do it in India, they do it in China, they do it in Pakistan, Iran. These are countries that don't have the best health conditions, the best environmental conditions. The tests aren't totally monitored. That's my take on it. You're the other side of it, but keep that in mind. Where are these tests done and how much fluoride? What's the level?
Kind of have to wrap it up, Dave.
Okay, I'll make it real quick. The worst the fluoride does is it affects the bones. It may make them brittle, but that's way too much fluoride. Fluoride helps lower income people because this is a cheap way for them to have dental prevention. I'm not an expert. The experts are the dentists. When you go to your dentist, ask them. When you go to your dental hygienist, ask them, or call the county health department. And I thank you for allowing me, and I got to put a plug in for a tennis course. I played tennis for 70 years. Westwood, Nagani, Marquette have beautiful courts, and Ishpeming does not. And I mean, having good courts, believe it or not, is a good sign for the community. People look at that. It would benefit your community to have good, decent courts. It's a lifelong sport, everybody plays it. I would like to see some court. We come up here to play, but we don't come to Ishpeming. So.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Anybody else on dental issues? One more call on fluoride, anything? All right, very good. Thank you very much for all your input. And we will be moving on. Any other normal public comment, regular comment? Seeing none, excuse me. We're gonna have our new manager offer his information, and the poor guy doesn't have a whole lot, but we're gonna listen to him anyway.
Thanks, Mayor, I appreciate that. I started Monday, we're moved up here, so feel very fortunate to be in here finally. Feels like it took a long time to get here. Everybody's been very welcoming, I appreciate that, appreciate our neighbors welcoming me, and then I'll steal any ideas I can from Nagani if it's working there, so appreciate the welcome, thanks.
Thank you, Randy. Consent agenda, I would prefer if we start having the council person, if possible, that reviewed the bills, make the motion on this, because it is approval of disbursements. So did you do the bills? Is that what I? No? Did we? Well, just go ahead then. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. Consent agenda consists of minutes of the previous meeting on February 19th, approval of disbursements, confirm mayor appointments for Matt Luce, the vacancy on the Planning Commission, term expiring 11/26. Mayor appointment Kevin Corkin to the vacancy on the Compensation Committee, expiring on 2/29. And mayor appointment of Mark Broberg to a vacancy on the Zoning Board of Appeals, expiring on 11/25. What's your pleasure?
Your Honor, I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support that.
We have a motion and support to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Monthly department reports. We'll start with Grant and the financial report.
Okay, thank you. We are taking a look at item 8A, revenue and expenditure report for the city of Ishpeming, and it's the thinner one. If you're looking at the thicker one, that is our detail, and we're looking at our high-level copy here. So starting out with the general fund for the month ended 2/28/2025, we can see that the general fund received tax revenues of $569,000 in the month of February, and we have $85,000 for charges for services. Total revenues in the general fund for February at $679,000. Expenditures, as always, are driven by personnel costs, followed quite a bit behind by equipment and supply costs. I did want to note there's a slight uptick in our professional and contracted services line. $10,000 of that $17K is our payment out to Upset, which we approved at a recent council meeting. So we have also for 2024, as we wrap up our entries and we finish our closing entries for our fiscal year 2024, you'll see at the bottom there, net revenues and expenditures dash 2024. A slight uptick, so some good news here. We are still finishing the year at a $79,000 deficit for 2024. But if you remember at the last meeting, that number is significantly better than the one we were looking at. So hopefully it stays favorable. We're still completing some closing entries as we approach our audit deadline in the summer. But just want to point out that number will continue to move as we do that. That's fairly normal year over year. Ending fund balance in the general fund at $1.89 million. Moving on to major streets. We have no 2025 revenue for major streets yet, although we are receiving revenue in January and February of 2025. We are allocating that revenue back to 2024. The state runs its Act 51 and gas tax transfers on a couple-month lag, so it's completely normal. We can see personnel services and equipment rentals for the major streets make up the majority of the expenditures. Year to date, we have a net expenditure over revenue of $137K. Again, perfectly normal until that state lag in funding kicks back up. We have an ending fund balance of $866,000 in major streets. Moving on to local streets, and because local streets is dependent on the same funding source as major streets, we see the same state lag in 2025 gas transfers. And we see personnel services, like in major streets, and equipment rentals drive the expenditures for the year. We have a net expenditures over revenues of $62,000 year to date, and an ending fund balance on local streets at $769,000. Taking a look at the DDA. The DDA brought in tax revenue for the month of February at $114,000. The debt service payments that we made on our 2011 bonds are driving the year-to-date expenditures in that fund. We have a net revenues over expenditures despite that large debt service payment early on in the year at $42,000. Ending fund balance in the DDA stands at just over $1 million. Then going on to our public improvement fund. A monthly revenue collection from property taxes of $185,000. Expenditures, we believe we have the police truck in there finally for that $66K. And we have a debt service payment of $41K on some building service improvements. We have year-to-date revenues over expenditures in Public Improvement Fund of $362K and an ending fund balance at $1.24 million.
Any questions for Grant? Seeing and hearing none, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept Grant's financial report.
Support.
Have a motion and support to accept the financial report as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. And are you gonna do the section 19 amendments as well?
Yep, so if we remember last year, I brought to you guys for a vote something called Section 19 Authority. What that allows you to do is have your administrators make transfers between departmental appropriations within a fund, so long as it does not transfer money out of a fund and does not put one department at a deficit at the benefit of another. So what this is a vehicle for staff to transfer excess appropriations where needed. A great example of this would be if Bill in Major Streets spent less time clearing snow this year and more time doing drainage and backslope work, we could transfer that appropriation from your winter maintenance into your drainage and backslopes. That motion that was made by council required me to note the Section 19 transfers that the administration did make. So those Section 19 transfers are here for your, just your confirmation. It's an informational presentation. And then in addition, I'll just tackle this final budget amendment for the police and fire retirement account. We have one budget amendment to make for our final 2024, and that is for pension benefits paid out of our police and fire retirement fund. I underestimated our pension benefits that we would pay out by 1.82%. So what we need is a $12,000 increase in that appropriation just to cover those police pension benefits that we're paying out of that fund.
So moved.
And that, okay, that's gonna require a motion and support. We have a motion and support to do the final budget amendments for the police and fire retirement fund. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
And we need a DPW update, William.
Jason, I'm gonna need to share my screen in a minute, but we'll start off with, so the meter project, as you know, we finalized that. We got all the meters installed. We're finally starting to get some of that, the data. And we'll go over that in about a month or so after we get a couple months under our belt. But the next big hurdle that we're gonna be doing is AquaHawk. And as we discussed before, this is gonna be the app where everybody can monitor their own water. They'll be able to do it by their phone, computer. They can set up the alarms. They'll be able to monitor if there's a toilet running. You'll be able to do bill pay on this. We just had our first meeting today, and they were actually a little bit shocked at how far along we are. They're saying that once we get this last little bit of data to him, that it will take approximately 2 weeks for him to implement the program. So I could see this thing being in use late April and May possibly, which is a humongous feat for the staff this year, I think.
Can you mention the cycles and the 1 gallon reads?
Oh, yeah, so the way the city used to read the waters, there was 7 billing cycles, I believe. So
Books, yeah.
So the bills were read at 7 different times in the month. So you would never, ever be able to get an accurate read of how many gallons the city is getting or selling. You can get the number from Iowa on how much you purchased, and you can get the number from the wastewater treatment plant on how much they treated, but you would never be able to do an accurate, unaccountable water number. And the way that we were able to do that is we moved all 7 billing cycles to the first of the month. So all meters are now read on the first of the month. Your bills are gonna be due at the same time of the month. Your shutoffs are gonna be due at the same time of the month. And we also went to reading at 1 gallons. Most communities stay at 100, and then they bill at 1,000. But with this AquaHawk, you would still have to wait for that 100 gallons to click before you would see it. By us going down to 1 gallon, you can literally track a toilet flapper, stuck open. So we're able to track down to the 1 gallon mark on our meters. It's gonna be a very accurate system. Let me see, share my screen. The next thing I wanted to talk about, and I wish some of the tennis court people would have stayed, is we're in negotiations right now. We're at the prime time. I don't know why I did that. So this is our current tennis courts right here. And if you notice, there is this storm sewer that runs to the east of it, and then it travels underneath the football field, underneath the train tracks, underneath the highway, and then out to where the old wastewater plant was on Carp Creek, or Partridge Creek. There's also a second line that is right next to this that takes care of 2nd Street, 3rd Street, and everything to the west. That line has been original from day one. There hasn't been any maintenance done on it. Nobody paid attention to it because it was a storm sewer. You don't throw a lot of money at your storm sewer. The idea being this year, either this year or the next construction season, Empire Street, if you look at the map up there, Empire Street to the west of the tennis courts is going to be torn up for brand new water and brand new sewer. What I'm proposing is that we also put in a storm sewer pipe in here. And instead of putting the storm water going to the north across the football field and all that, I propose that we go to the west and actually dump into Lake Bancroft. We would be introducing a little bit fresher water into the lake, and then we would also have to do an outfall out of the lake over by the Lake Bancroft Pavilion. We would actually have to bore a line underneath the park, underneath the lakeshore, and then underneath Icon Signs parking lot. This would be adding fresh water to the lake. It would actually start cleaning up the lake. But the big takeaway would be if we're allowed to do this, we would actually be putting in this would be the proposal. We would be putting in a manhole on this side of the tennis courts. We would travel underneath the tennis courts, down Lake or Empire, and dump it into the lake.
It's not shown on the screen up there.
I don't know why that's not doing that one. Well, we'll go back to this one.
So it literally would go right through the tennis courts.
Yeah, it would go through the tennis courts. So we would have to, we could either do it north of the tennis courts and just do the parking lot, or we could actually do in-kind services by doing the demo work of the tennis courts, the fencing, the blacktops that's there. We would put our pipe in, and then we would raise that area back up to grade with the proper sand and the proper rock. And then it would be up to, one of the ideas would be talking with the school district and them taking it from there. That would be their in-kind services. Rather than us using the money for the grant that we had, or using the money that we had appropriated before. And not necessarily appropriated, but talked about. So this is one of the biggest ideas that we have. There's something else I did.
Remember what you stated the cost would be to slip line?
Oh, yeah, but thank you very much. So remember I said there's those two pipes that travel north of the football field and over there. It's approximately 1 mile of 36-inch pipe, and the quote that I received from the contractor would be, and this would be if the pipe was in perfect condition, didn't need any cleaning, it was excellent to do, it would be $2 million to $2.5 million to slip line this pipe. This idea right here would be approximately right around $450,000 to about $550,000. It's a very big cost savings thing, and you're also improving the lake, which we've been trying to do for decades. So that's the big takeaway on that. I did want to give an update. We did have 10 water main breaks this year since the start of winter. The crew's been out doing a great job on that. And then when it comes to the repairs of the roads, one of the members said something about 7th Street. The reason we didn't pave 7th Street at that time and we waited this long is that water main under 7th Street is still cast iron and it is prone to break. And since the very first break that she was talking about, it has broken again in the very same spot. So in my mind, paving that area at $17,000, that would have been a complete waste of money. We have it in the contract this year that they are going to be paving all of 7th Street. which is incredible. I just want to use our money wisely. The other thing that was brought up is the road to the hospital. And as some of you remember, I did get a quote for the repair of that road. It's $252,000. But the only thing that hasn't been done, and I've been in negotiations with the hospital, and I'll be getting Randy involved here. Until they solve their water issue up there, there's no point in us putting a brand new road there. It's just gonna wear it out again.
Stormwater issue.
Correct, yes. There are remedies to doing it. We're in negotiations with them. They have an engineer on staff now, so there's some ideas coming around, but again, until we can fix the stormwater issue, we're not gonna spend the money on the road. And that's about all I got for right now.
Any questions for Bill?
Hi, Scott, Stephen. I live on Teal Lake Road. It was extremely cold, I mean extremely cold, and his staff was out there with water problems. And it's not a pleasant job for those that think that the DPW sits around and doesn't do anything. These guys are in pretty miserable conditions when they have a water break. It's awful cold. If you take water and just about freeze it, and then put your hand in there for about a half hour, then you'll kind of get an idea what they're kind of going on. But yeah, but nobody knows what they're going through unless you have to do it. And I certainly wouldn't do it. But
Amen.
and the fact that he's working on the tennis court thing, some people get focused. We got to do it this way and just give us the money. Well, we got Bill saying maybe we should look outside the box, and here we are. It may not happen as quick, but all of a sudden it's happening. But he found a way to think outside the box, and that's important. So.
And our new policy is to dig once.
Yeah. So thanks, Bill.
Is the frost coming out now? Have we crossed?
Yes and no, it comes out a little bit, which causes a shift in the ground soils, which causes
But it's not
breaks,
going down
but
anymore.
It's not going down anymore.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, William. Oh, I'm sorry.
You said 7th Street will be a project there this year. Is there a timeline for that yet, or?
We haven't nailed down the schedule with the contractors. We do know that Payne and Dolan will be starting south of. Yep, the DWSRF grant. They're gonna be starting in the south of town by Salisbury, around, I think they said the beginning of May. Lindbergh's, we haven't decided on where they're gonna be starting, but we do know that 4th of July parade will be happening on 3rd Street this year.
And we are working to have a presentation at a meeting as to a timeline, and
Good.
we've got Chris working on it. I thought he was here, but he might have just,
he's there.
he might have just headed for Chassel, I don't know. But we will get council up. And another thing on that subject is communication was terrible last year, and we're going to diligently work to improve it this year. Not only so council knows, but so the citizens know as well.
Mayor, if I could, 3rd Street, are we gonna have like good signage for your businesses, like Elaine's is gonna be really affected, in being that they're in the middle of 3rd Street like that. Is there gonna be any way for people to get to Elaine's? Brett was asking just the other day.
Yeah, you'll still be able to come down 2nd Street and then around. There will be detours around there, but yeah, for the most part, you'll be able to get around there.
Do we have a plan yet on 3rd Street and how the reconstruction is gonna look by Hematite?
Not yet. We will be having a meeting here soon.
There's still some council
trying to get-
decisions that have to be made there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill. Public hearings, none. Unfinished business, we're gonna discuss the tennis courts.
Your Honor. Can I say something about the tennis
I'm gonna
courts?
start.
Well, yeah, after you.
We have worked diligently on this. There's some misconceptions. Where this fell apart was previous administration was involved solely. And there actually is no obligation for the taxpayers to give $300,000 to the schools. The obligation was that we would match a successful grant from the DNR that we currently don't believe was properly applied for. We think it was probably the wrong venue to apply for tennis courts. The interim, and I wish the guys were still here, as we said earlier, the interim was not for us to say, we don't want to work with you, and we'll have Grant and the manager talk on this as well prior to council. But we're not going to put any amount of money into a project that we're gonna have to rip up in a year or two. And this program, I was told that we can't do anything because there's a sewer line running under the tennis courts. There's no sewer line there. We would like to run a sewer line under the tennis courts to get the storm water that comes from Second and Third Streets way up on the hill, down through the cemetery, or through the playgrounds, and goes out toward the cemetery to the old sewage plant. Like Bill said, $6 million to slip line the pipes that are probably not able to do that because they're older than myself and my dad combined.
2 million, Pat.
2 million.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2 million, 2.6 million? Way much, anyway. But it wouldn't make sense for us to put that kind of money into that. The line that we're putting under the tennis courts, or tentatively gonna put under the tennis courts, makes the most sense of all. As Bill stated, we could go north of the tennis courts and avoid all but one corner, but we'd still have to tear up part of it. So the part that Bill mentioned about if we have to tear the tennis courts up, we have to put it back. We can't just tear it up and leave it graveled. We have to put it back. So service in kind, if you will. So we go in, we tear the fences down, we do our work on the sewer line, and we're gonna do the bulk of the work to remodel the tennis courts at no cost to the school and no need for grant money. At the same time, we're gonna be working to apply for another grant in the appropriate. We've got a lot of advice from the DNR and the state about where you can get the money. And it's much more favorable for us. So while we do support the school and we support them very strongly, we're not turning our back, but we have to make the right decisions during this construction season and the right decisions for our taxpayers. Grant, do you want to jump in here at this point?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I did just want to address, a few things that I heard tonight. I ultimately was the one who started the communication on our difference in funding sources for this year. There was a comment made, and I think it was in beginning to talk about the agreements that we had with the school. And I think the terms blah, blah, blah was used to sum it up. But we do business at the municipal level on legal contracts, on written agreement. Those are important to us. Those dictate how we do business, and those dictate what our commitments are as a local government. And they dictate the commitments that your elected officials have made, which you can then hold them responsible to. So the idea that the city is working within our written contract language that we have with the district is really important to me, and I will stick up for our organization day in and day out for that. When we address the funding, $300,000 equates to more than half of the public improvement funding that we're bringing in year over year. Public improvement funding is our sole source right now that's viable for stormwater repairs. As I have been talking to you as your interim over the last 9 months, I have addressed the issue of our infrastructure planning. We did not plan, prior administrations did not plan successfully for the stormwater repairs that we have 1 year now to access, while 25% of the roadways in this town are torn up. The decision to pull the potential grant match of $300,000 this year for this year's budget is a very time-sensitive one. It's very urgent. Nobody here wants to tear up Third Street in 5 years to get back at that storm pipe. As we will discuss later, UPEA has some proposals, and we're gonna possibly discuss a contract into going into that design. But you have two organizations that bring in very similar operating budgets, and you have a lease that has named the tennis courts as the school's sole maintenance responsibility for the last 20 years. The city is not walking away from our students. We support our students. We are looking for alternative ways, better grants, different ways we can use funding. But we have two issues. We have the tennis courts repaving and we have the stormwater work. And the stormwater work is time dependent. We have a limited window. The tennis courts, this is 20 years in the making. And I think it's money better spent, to be frank, as your finance director and as a resident here, that we wait until we get a grant. We spend our money wisely and we get the best bang for our buck, right? That's all I have to say on the budget thing. I do want to express my support of those student athletes, and I think it's wonderful what they're doing despite not having courts. I think it's an incredible accomplishment. I don't think anybody here in this room wants to send a message that we feel any differently, but we do business with contracts, and we do business with contract language. And we need to make decisions that are logical, and we need to make decisions for 10 years down the road. So thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate each and every one of you being here.
Thank you, Grant. Another thing that, just for the general public, it's been brought up I've been on council for a long time, and it's been brought up many times, why don't we sell the whole facility to the school? And I guess I'm in favor of that, but we have a agreement with the DNR till, what was it, Claudia? The end of that? 2056. The DNR's got their hand in our pockets. So, well, with the school, but we can't sell it to them until this agreement with the DNR is either released or ends. So that is just not an option. Randy, did you want to weigh in a little bit?
Yeah, obviously I've been here 3 days, but this was the first, the first issue that hit my desk. I just want to say that's how important this issue, the tennis courts were. Bill came and talked to me, Grant came and talked to me, the mayor came and talked to me. I did meet with the school superintendent on Tuesday because Bill really discovered this idea and brought it forward. And if we want to work with the school, we want to make sure we can spend our money wisely and do that at the same time. I'm always about trying to do win-wins. I don't like win-losses. It's not good for anybody. So I think we have an opportunity to do that with the in-kind match and then looking at some other grant opportunities. I think they talked about it tonight. I mean, that there may be other grants out there we don't even know about. So I think we have an opportunity to do that. It looks like it'd be 2026, I think, before we could do this project. So it would give us some time to get into the grant cycles. So I think it's a great opportunity, but.
Very good, thank you. Jason?
Yeah, I'm talking about the tennis courts and talking about, you know, the youth in general. Sorry, having a Charlie horse here. I think that it's absolutely wise for the city to be a partner in projects revolving youth. We've been partners in other organizations, like with Partridge Creek. We've been partners with the ski club in the past. Being a partner with your school or with other organizations in support of projects or the tennis courts or the youth center or what have you, doesn't necessarily mean anyone's, going to be always asking for money. There's a lot of other reasons you want your municipality to be on your side and behind you. So I think that is a pretty darn good solution to rip up the tennis courts when we do the storm sewer right there. And it does kind of table the issue, which is kind of what was asked tonight. And in the meantime, we can find solutions. So, but I definitely want to make sure that, we are wanting to partner with our school system. And I think that we've done a good job of it. And I think we will continue to do so in the future. But also, it is only Randy's third day. So, cut him some slack here.
All right, thank you, Jay. Either one of you?
You want me to make a motion
Go.
on table it?
I was going to, but any further discussion? We got two rapid people here. There's
no motion.
Oh, there's gonna be though.
How do you table if there's no motion?
There's going to be.
It's a discussion item.
Right.
So you don't need.
We can make a motion during a report, can't we?
Do we?
You don't. You table it when someone makes.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to discuss it.
I think we basically just.
The table can't be a motion, or a motion to table?
You can just ask the manager to bring it up when there's more information.
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? No more discussion?
No.
No.
Then I, instead of moving, would ask the manager to keep it on our front burner. And because we need money for storm sewers, but I want to ensure our public and our school system that it is not going to die on the vine.
Right.
I'll reach out to Scoop tomorrow.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. That ends our discussion on the tennis courts. New business. Time check. Special events application, 4th of July festivities, and the Iron Range Roll. These are both long-time events. Motion,
I'll make a motion that we approve both as presented.
everything's in order. I'm sure staff checked. We have a motion and support to grant the 4th of July parade. Is it the parade or the whole?
Whole thing.
Independence Day celebrate, yes. And the Iron Range Roll as well. Have a motion and support. What's your pleasure? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. UPEA proposal for 3rd Street storm sewer. Item 11B. We want to get Chris right in, or do we have input here?
You want?
You can go for it.
So Chris is here to discuss the contract that we've been talking about tonight. There's going to be some extra storm work that we want to do on 3rd Street, and they've only engineered the current, I believe it's the water system on that street. So we need to discuss having a contract with them so that they can design the stormwater work on 3rd Street.
And we have the proposal in front of us for the engineering side of it.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we enter in, unless you want to say something first.
No, I don't know if this is on you, but.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, yeah, no, if you guys have any questions, let us know. But,
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward, I think I did a time and feel that way, if we can do it for less than that, then we'll do it for less. We're gonna be in the area when the water goes in, so we'll keep our feet to the minimum as much as we can.
And we're, as a council, we're still gonna have to decide the right of way or center or whatever.
Correct, that won't impact, the storm sewer design, so we can keep moving. I'll be honest, we're already moving, but, I didn't wanna wait, so I took a chance, but if you guys don't wanna go with it, that's fine too, we're not gonna send you an invoice, but it is.
In Ishpeming, we dig once. Jason made a motion, do I
That's
have
why I'm
support?
making a motion, yep.
There's a contract signed.
I'll support that.
I have a motion and support, we need to have it subject to the attorney's approval.
Absolutely amended.
Support as well, Kurt?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I have a motion to accept the UPEA,
Oh, hang on, we've got Grant.
oh, I'm sorry.
Should we identify a funding source for this engineering work and then the potential work that would result from it?
And I was gonna say, we're gonna have to use some of our,
PI funds or sewer.
So, may I?
Tennis-
just
yeah,
for
go
a
ahead.
moment? So one of the things that we've been in discussion about over the Public Improvement Fund is this tennis court grant match, obviously. But in addition to that, and in the background to that, we have our fire tower report, which was just given to us, which is an estimated $400,000 cost, which Public Improvement Fund is the source of, to bring down. I did want to let council know I contacted a historic lighthouse restoration guy. He's going to take a second look just to see if there's anything else we can come up with, repair ideas. We're for free. He's going to look at Chris's firm's work. This isn't like in contradiction to Chris's firm's work. This is checking all available options, sources we have for this fire tower. The other thing is I want to remind council, our 2nd Street storm sewer collapse. which we all remember, which closed down a few city blocks last year. That hit the public improvement fund pretty heavy. So that is the background against why I would like to recommend an amendment that we take that grant match that we had, which was contingent upon the successful receipt of a grant, and reallocate that to some storm sewer work for our directly under 3rd Street on this road. And that's how I would propose we pay for this.
Should we do a separate motion to release the grant match? I mean, it's,
I think you can do it all in one motion.
Okay.
okay, so the funding source to be the money that was set up for the grant match to go toward not just the engineering cost, but the sewer cost itself.
With the understanding, we likely will not be able to do all the work we could potentially identify. We're already behind. We are doing as much as we
Right,
can.
understood.
Yeah.
All right, motion amended accordingly.
Yeah, if we can save some money going into the next year for the tennis courts, that would be really helpful out of this.
Well, we're not backing down at all on the tennis courts. In my opinion, we're gonna still be going full bore to get it
Okay.
done.
All right.
And support as well.
Yep.
So we have a motion and support to reallocate the previous money that was a match for tennis court renovations and move it toward any storm sewer work that we're able to get done in the 3rd Street remodel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
So just a couple more things, if I can update you, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Lindbergh had sent an email there targeting, May 5th as the start date. As you mentioned, Mayor, we are, gonna be more diligent this year. We've asked them to give us like a 2-week rolling schedule so that we can put it out there. You guys can put it on your social media, whatever. What we probably like to do is, I don't know how much you can see them with the boards we have up here, but a lot of times we'll highlight things like, we have different money, like with water, you have to test it, right? But you have to get your back heat test done or whatever, and we say you can't pay for 14 days. So we'll probably be highlighting stuff as this water line is done. It's installed, but it's not tested yet, or it's installed and it's ready to go, we can start paving or whatever that might be. But whatever we can do to facilitate for you guys, let us know. We'll try to do what we can so you guys can get stuff out in a more timely fashion. But that's what we've asked both contractors for, at least a 2-week rolling schedule, if you will, so that we can tell people. Obviously, with construction, it's gonna change, right? We're gonna have some times where, hey, we're not going over to, I don't know, Chippewa Street, for example, or something. We're gonna go in a different direction, right? But we'll get ahead of that as much as we can with the water job. Do a better job of that. Another thing I was gonna say is, I know roads is a big concern, right? But we've got 50,000 feet of water main that we're gonna attempt to get in one calendar year. So there's gonna be a lot of disruption, but when you got 50,000 feet of water line, you got almost 10 miles of road. So you got about 30 some miles, I think, in your system. So we're doing almost probably, not everything's gonna be under a road, right? So let's take that half, we're doing 25%. I think grants up your roads. You're gonna get some bang for your buck that it's gonna be residual, not
Nice.
just water, but it's gonna include a lot of your roads. So with that, we'll hit the ground running. I haven't heard anything from Penny Dolan yet. I'm not sure, I guess we're trying to, I think get them to do their sewer stuff first, would be my guess, if they start with that, and then we'll migrate into the water. Other thing we still are working on is RD application on the sewer, which is mostly down in the Southbury area, or can't remember what the other one is, over by East Street, over on Washington there. Yeah, Wabash. I'm not sure where that's gonna come, so we're gonna see if we can push some of that off. Salisbury, we'll see where it's at the end of the year. My understanding is that pavement isn't very good, so we may end up with wintering of some gravel there because we don't wanna pave and then come back, you know. So if the funding doesn't come in time, I guess that's what I'm saying. The sewer might be next year in that area, but we won't have paved yet with this stuff, raw stuff back there. The other thing that we wanna keep in mind is, as we detour down Second with the storm there, we are gonna come down Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, from 3rd to 2nd?
Down Michigan.
Yeah, so during that time frame, we're gonna have to work out some other way to get around, because we're gonna tie into the manhole on the corner of 2nd and Michigan. So that will be shut down for a short period, where we may have to detour somewhere else, but we'll get up the proper signage and we'll make things work over there, so. I think that's.
we'll convert from getting hollered at because the roads are so bad to construction problems.
Yeah,
Which is much better.
Yes.
Go away.
yes.
All right, thank you, Chris.
All right, I'm gonna take off. Thank you.
Head for Chassel.
Drive safe.
All right, now we have a resolution number 5-2025, supporting the Marquette County West End Youth Center construction. And I want to reiterate that this is a show of support and has, at this time, no money attached to it.
Correct, so I'm gonna put my other hat on here, as the president of the steering committee for the Marquette County West End Youth Center, and introduce, and also the council liaison, that was made last meeting. So I'm gonna introduce to you the team, right, that we have here tonight. We have our founder, Rose Chibbins. We have Nathan and Lucy. They're the students at Westwood. They are the two who wrote this resolution. I guided them a little bit on how to form a resolution, but this is their words. So they're gonna introduce this to you guys, and I'll let them take it away, but I'm really proud of the work that these two juniors in high school have done. And go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Today we are here in front of you, Mayor and council members, asking you for support of our resolution.
We strongly believe that if you can help us move back to the city of Ishpeming in a very impactful way.
But why do we need your support in specific examples? Well, we believe we need it for 3 big reasons. I'll start off with the first. Community safety and crime prevention. We all know what's happening in our city. Whether we want to admit it or not, the accessibility of drugs and alcohol is readily available to our youth, which leads to these young kids getting caught up in all this drug mess. For example, vaping and marijuana are used heavily nowadays by our youth and are extremely unhealthy. These are also considered gateway drugs, which can lead to significantly more problems. This is exactly why we are asking the council to support this resolution to keep our youth safe. If we can get this complex bill, we will provide a safe, positive environment for them. Overall, this will reduce the temptation to use these harmful substances. Now I'd like to pass the microphone to my Vice President, Lucy Austin.
The second thing we'd like to talk to you about today is access to resources and empowerment. I am the oldest of 5 siblings, and my youngest sister is in 3rd grade. She is spunky and smart and everything that you'd expect a 3rd grader to be, but the main thing that she is confident. And she is far more confident than I or Nathan or probably any of you were in 3rd grade. And I have had so many opportunities growing up in the past 17 years of my life, not only in my community, but my school. And I want to be able to tell my little sister that she will have all those opportunities and more as she is growing up. This youth center will give our youth empowerment to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. It's going to give them resources that they can use to learn and grow and become the best versions of themselves, not only to help themselves, but the future of our city and our community. Next, I'd like to pass the mic off to Jason Chapman, who is our current sitting president.
We also need to talk about some other pressing things. The social and mental health benefits of having a center. It'll offer a place for the kids to hang out, but it'll also be much more than that. It's about offering them the support they need to thrive socially and mentally. By giving youth access to positive role models, safe space, structured activities, we'll be helping them build strong social skills and healthy relationships. In turn, this will have long-lasting benefits, reducing the chances of them getting caught up in negative behaviors. Moreover, mental health is a critical part of overall well-being, and the center will provide some much-needed support in that area as well. By creating an environment where kids can talk about their struggles, build resilience, and learn coping strategies, we're setting them up for a healthy and more balanced tomorrow. Yeah, well, this is a project that is ambitious, but we put together a steering committee over the last 2 months. Mental health professionals, business owners, community, folks who have done a lot of fundraising for other organizations. We've got educators, we've got artists, we've got musicians, and we've got many, many more talents on this steering committee. So we are continuing to go forward, and we hope that this is going to be something that in a few years, the council and this community can look back on and realize it started here in Ishpeming. So this center we want to be housed in the West End, and we will be going to the other units of government to ask for their support as well. We're not asking for anything monetarily right now, but we are asking for a show of unity and a willingness to look together down the road, work with us together down. And I want to turn it now over to our founder, Rose Shivers.
Well, good evening, everyone. I do wanna, before I go into this, fluoride is needed in the water, okay? I go into third world countries, in missionary work, and they tell you, they don't have it, and they show it, okay? So anyway, that's that. I am the founder of Marquette County West End Youth Center. It all started in 2017 when I was in my daughter's shop. And people were coming in and they were crying and talking and what have you. And I asked what was going on. And I was informed that at that time, that day, a 17-year-old had completed his suicide. 17 years old, okay? It's not the last one. There's been many since then, okay? I am a suicide survivor and I wondered, why would a 17-year-old not want to live, you know? So this started my journey with some people and wanting to do something for them. I looked around. I'm very fortunate. I'm from California, and on my graduation night, back in the 60s, I went to Disneyland all-night party, okay? Disneyland in Anaheim, the first Disneyland ever built, okay? And I looked around and I couldn't see anything for our kids to do. I mean, the beautiful trails, lots of breweries, okay? They're not old enough to go to the breweries. And most of them can't even afford a bike to ride the trails, okay? So, I was volunteering at Partridge Creek Park with Dan Perkins, and he and I got together, and I came from an area where the Boys and Girls Club was very big and very popular and absolutely fantastic for the kids. So I said, how about a Boys and Girls Club? He said, yeah, that sounds good. So we looked around and we contacted Chicago, and sure enough, they sent someone out. So on August 2019, I put together 30 stakeholders to speak to the directors, individuals from the Boys and Girls Club. And they wrote a report, and we definitely need something here for our kids. So that was 2019. You know what happened in 2020, right? The world turned upside down. And we had visited Menominee, Green Bay, where we're gonna charter with. I'm telling you the story so that you can understand why the community is important and your support is important. Then COVID came. And the Boys and Girls told me basically, you know, we can't help you. You'll have to, if you really want this, you're gonna have to do it on your own, okay? I'm 82 years old right now, okay? At that time, that was 5 years ago, so you can imagine how old I was. But I didn't give up, because I believe with all my heart and soul that our kids in the UP, in the West End of Marquette County, definitely need a safe place to go to after school. And give them hope, give them a great future. Without this, you know what our kids do on Saturdays? And we take a blind eye to it, okay? They park their cars in the parking lots of the schools in El Paul. Last year, July 1st, a young driver, 16 years old, left the party that they'd been at all week, well, all night. Drove and was in an accident, and the young man that was in the backseat, no seatbelt on, died. That was a tragedy. Then his girlfriend, re-stroking. My God, can you imagine? You know what? No, I don't want you to imagine it, okay, because I don't want you to feel it when you lose someone you love. She was so grief-stricken that she drove her car into the woods, slammed into a tree, was burned to death. The neighbors could hear the screams. So, something else I've been working on with law enforcement of Market County to figure out not to have a young man at 16 be driving a car at that time. So, okay, I'm on my own, okay? I've got a couple of friends, 2 wonderful women friends, okay? Ellen Flagg, who's our treasurer for the board, and Debbie Newhouse, who works at Carpet Plus. Okay. So anyway, if you want to hear the rest of my story, talk to me, okay? But I truly believe that the only way, I've been at it for 5 years, so I truly believe that now is the time to do something for our kids. And the only way, I woke up one morning and I talked to the Boys and Girls Club again, they want to come out here. And I don't have to charter with anybody, they want this to be our own entity and hopefully create more Boys and Girls Clubs in the UP. So I needed help, and who do I turn to? I figured he can help me get this going, because he knows people, right? And he has. In the last 2 months, we have put a steering committee that is absolutely fantastic. The Market County West End Youth Center is not just going to be a center, okay? It's going to be a complex. It's going to be a complex where it's going to house the Boys and Girls Club, 4-H, livestock animals. Can you imagine a kid adopting an animal that they can take care of? And then, of course, they need some fun, a fun zone. And I've got Bill Dignett, who's a professor at NMU, theater and so forth. They're a great family. They believe in entertainment. He's going to help me with the fun zone. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for letting me come here, letting us come. We've developed a student youth advisory council with kids from all the schools in Market County to help us find out what it is that the kids want. So if you vote on this resolution, you will give us the support that we need so that we can get the community and the county involved in supporting what we want to do for our young people.
Very good, thank you, Rose.
I'll give a further update briefly on what's being done over the last 2 months in my report.
Okay, very good. What's your pleasure, council?
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we support this resolution with the idea that at this time, there's no financial or until later on.
And there is no request for money in the resolution, so. Is there support?
I'll support that motion.
Having a motion and support to accept resolution number 5-2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, council. And thank you
Police
to my
Department
team.
request to purchase rifles. Does Justin want to weigh in, or is
Whatever review with the gas in front of you, but Chief Radabot asked me if we can get some free quotes for new AR-15s for our department to supplement some of the older ones that we have that are at least 10 and 15 years old that are showing some severe wear and tear. So just looking to supplement our inventory in that regard, some more modern equipment. Ones we have right now are pretty outdated in terms of modularity.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 3 new rifles for the police department at $5,037.42. I did go on a ride-along that was a little late in going again, so I was able to kind of, firsthand take a look at some of them and look at some other stuff down the pike. And
I'll support that.
I have a motion and support to approve purchase of Keesler Police Supply 3 FN-15 SRP rifles for a sum of $5,037.42.
Oh,
Where,
hang on here, I gotta ask we've got a couple quotes. He put, I may have to amend this. There's,
Keesler Supply is actually $4,816.20.
oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, and then there's Palmetto State Armory is $4,702.53. So I guess I would, as
Well,
there's
that was a
only
not to exceed.
okay, yeah, I would just let the chief use his discretion on which
So
one.
what he's looking for is, Keesler was the one, though, wasn't it?
That's what it looks like at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that'll be my motion.
And where is this funding coming from? Is he got the,
This is budgeted in your capital
Okay.
improvement plan already. Chad made this departmental request in the budget season, and we got this in.
all right, so we have a motion and support to accept and approve the chief's request for 3 new rifles. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Brasswire Campground signage, Billy?
Yeah, both the Parks and Recs Commission and you guys have asked me to go and get some information for you about these signage. I did contact the Pure Michigan, and the price is $360 per sign per direction. So depending on what you guys want to do, whether you want to have 2 on 41 and 2 on 28, it's up to you guys. I did look into the brown signs. We currently do have alcohol marked on the highway with the brown signs. The brown signs are reserved for recreation only, and those ones are free to the public. They do not consider the campground recreation, so that is why there's a fee attached to that one. So it's up to you guys.
I think it would be beneficial to have 4 signs.
I would also like to also let you know that this is an unbudgeted item, so
Yeah.
we'd have to amend the budget if you're going to make that decision.
And
And that is an annual fee.
Annual fees.
Annual
One-time
fees.
shot.
yeah.
I have can I have a question?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have one too.
Just for Bill, I really think we need them on 41. It should have been done 2 years ago.
Yep.
But on M28, do we have to have those type on M28, or could we do our own thing?
We don't
What's your
own,
thoughts?
we don't own property on 28, so we can't put a sign
But
up.
you could, there's landowners there we can go talk to.
Possible.
I'm just throwing it out there for where if we put a sign of our own metal, we don't have to pay an annual fee. And if I know of one owner, on one side, I know some people in that stretch that would give us the,
Yeah, I think I know someone too.
but I guess I've just thrown that out there, for M28, which is less traveled, could we do our own thing where we make our sign, make it very good, and it's good for metal, and, so we don't have to repair it every 20 years, but.
We should, if we have questions, we should make the motion to do US 41.
Yes.
I'll make the motion to do US 41 and look into the option of doing our own signs. But I would also like to ask Claudia a quick question. Did the committee recommend 2? I don't quite remember. 2, we didn't recommend any of the signs, okay.
I'll support that. And you want to put the price in there, $360 annually per direction.
So it would be,
Yeah.
so it would be $720 annually for US 41.
Right.
Yep.
And how would we pay for that?
Thank you.
The brass wire rental.
You could do it from your brass wire rentals. You have a $3,000 surplus in the general fund, which you could cover this with, budgeted or public improvement fund. I would put it in brass wire. It's a small enough
That's the
fee.
cleanest, so
Yeah.
amend the motion.
I'll amend the motion that the funding source will be the brass wire fund,
Amended support
Yeah.
and question.
okay.
It's for Bill. How quick, or how soon are we ready? So if somebody comes off the highway from Timbuktu and they go, ooh, I'm gonna go stay at a campground, how soon before they can go in and do that queue thing, whatever? Where they can
QR
just-
codes?
So they can rent the space and you don't have to go to City Hall or?
The campground cannot be done through any QR code or anything. It has to be done through the website because when you book through the website, it blocks off that campsite in the
Shows it
internet.
reserved.
But a QR code would just send it to that link.
So this is cool. This is where our web, sorry,
Nope, you're
you
good.
didn't know
Believe
this,
me.
so I didn't communicate this to Bill yet. So this is on me. We have capability with our website to do something where we can get you like a backdoor login window. So we can block off some sites for first come, first serve. And that QR code could serve as a link to reserve those sites.
Cool.
We tested this last year with our 24-hour race out at the campground, where I was able to, through our software, block off that weekend out of all of the sites for just people participating in that race. If you signed up for that 24-hour mountain bike race, you were then given the link to go in back end into our system and get at those dates which were blocked off. I'd imagine the sites that we
Yeah.
reserve would function the same way, which is something Kurt and me had discussed about these signs. I apologize, I did not give you that information, so. We can do it with our software.
Okay, so a guy comes off the 41 from Montana, which is very common.
Yep.
And go down there and get his campsite and pay right there to the city.
Yep, if we designate a number of sites as first come, first serve and have QR codes on the post, they should be able to scan and pay right online.
Then I'm all for getting him off the highway and sending him down to the campsite.
All right, we have a motion and support to place the signs on US 41 in both directions and funding to come from the brass wire. All those in favor signify.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Proposal from Tri-Media to complete the GIS at our cemetery.
Jason, can you share my screen again? So you guys have done this in the past. We were going to do it over, I believe, a 5-year period. And when you guys made the motion a couple of years ago to do it, all of us, including I, there was actually another segment of the cemetery on the back of one of the pages. So you guys authorized, I believe it was 1 through 6, and there was actually a 7th one on the back of the page. So this got overlooked. It's the final section of the cemetery.
And is that over in the Catholic side?
It's in the southern side. I'm not sure what the name of that one is. It's the closest to the highway.
Yeah, that's the Catholic side.
And I got some great news, if we can share this screen. So this is what our cemetery is gonna look like now. They finally completed the GIS. It is one of the largest ones that they did. I don't know the total number of grave sites, but it's actually a very neat system. What you can do, what anybody will be able to do is they'll be able to type in a last name. And of course I spelled it wrong. And I don't know why it's not working tonight. I think it's got to do with the sharing.
He worked the other day when he showed up.
Yeah.
He worked really good.
There we go. So you
Not there yet.
you never know. So you type in the last name and it's going to give you the first name of everybody that is registered in the cemetery, and you just highlight on one of them and we'll actually bring you to the site of where the headstone is located. It gives you on the main screen, it's going to give you some of the information, the birth and the deceased. Once we get the rest of the information, it's going to have the obituary, the graveside card, or any other information that you want about this person. It tells you whether they're a vet or not. At the very bottom, there will be some photos. There is some right now. When you click on it, it actually goes to the tombstone. So you'll be able to see where it is. There's a function over here, this little button right here, and it acts just like your phone when you're asking where to go to someplace. So you'll be able to hit this button, it's gonna show you where you are at currently, and then it's gonna highlight the gravestone that you wanna go to, and you'll be able to walk right to the gravestone. This is gonna save our cemetery workers a lot of work. Normally, right now, they'll be in the middle of mowing a yard or mowing a section, and they'll have to stop what they're doing and give a tour, basically, of where to go. This is also gonna be online, so anywhere, anybody, anywhere can actually pull all this information up. The section that we just talked about is this section down here, and as you can see, none of it is marked. The work is actually done. While they were there and they had the students doing all this marking, they decided to go ahead with it, pretty much knowing that we were gonna be committed to doing this last section. So it's just a formality of paperwork, an error on my part, that we didn't get this done.
Do you need a motion in for $8,200?
Correct. Need a motion for you to,
I just want to say, we did put this in your budget, though. So this was, again, we did catch this in time for the budget season, so this is part of the existing capital improvement plan. You have $30,000 earmarked towards this GIS work, so.
Your Honor, I make a motion, we pay the $8,200 to finish the cemetery project. And,
Support.
Thanks for all your work, holy cow.
Motion and
Way above my
support,
technology.
motion and support to approve the request to finish the GIS work at the cemetery. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Discussion on replacement of steam heating system at the Carnegie Library. You're a lucky man tonight.
yeah, Jesse asked me to do this part for her. We went out for bids, or we solicited for bids. And one of the part of the bids was you had to do a mandatory walkthrough to understand the project and the scope of it. We didn't have any contractors show up. We had one engineering firm show up that wanted to re-engineer the whole entire system. And that's kind of not what we were looking for. I did go out and talk to a bunch of the contractors. Most of them are tied up in the major housing projects down in Marquette. But the one contractor that we do use for our city buildings, they were gonna give a bid. We wanna switch from the inefficient steam boiler that is constantly being repaired, and we wanna go to water system. What neither of us knew was that when you do switch heat sources, you now open yourself up to the building inspectors, and your ventilation needs to be up to date, which changes the scope of the work. So I'm not looking for a motion, I'm just kind of looking for your guys' guidance. I don't know whether you want to go with repairing the old one and seeing how long that works. They did throw out a number that if we just do the repairing of the old boiler system, and I believe that system is well over,
It's old.
I want to say it's over 20 years old. It would be around $200,000 just to do the repairs of the piping and that, not replace the boiler, just do the repairs. The other option, which is totally different engineering scope, it would be brand-new air ventilators where you're sucking the air from the outside, exchanging it with the air inside. It would be brand-new boilers, brand-new radiators, and brand-new air handlers. That would be in the neighborhood of around $500,000 with all the engineering in that.
For how many years would that last, you think?
The boiler system, I don't know. I can't give you a number, but it'd
15
be,
years or
oh, it'd
50
be,
years?
which the new ones?
The new system.
The new system would be, I mean, the ones I have are over 25 years and they don't even show any wear on them yet. They're high efficiency boilers. Grant was just saying to me that there is $250K in the CIP program for this year. Not sure which directions you guys would like to take on that.
Is the steam a two-pipe steam system?
No, it's a one pipe, and that's the problem. So anybody, if you don't understand the steam system, what it is there's one pipe in the building. The steam travels through that one pipe to all the different heating sources. When the thermostat is done with the heat cycle, then all that steam has to drain back to the boiler. With the old piping and the settling of some of the building parts and that, the piping isn't right, so the water won't drain back. The next time the boiler kicks on, that steam mixes with the water that's in the boiler, and you get all the rattling that you get water pump coming out of the vents. We have probably, and Jesse would know the better number, but if I had to guess, there's probably 6 radiators that are disconnected from the system right now because they basically shook themselves.
And I did go and kind of do a walkthrough before the last library board meeting to kind of take a look, and I mean, there's some homemade radiators in there, you know, I mean, it's, and, you know, I think if you have time, go up and take a look at the system. It's old and it needs to be replaced.
I got a question for Bill, because I know how to drive a semi, but I don't know anything about heating systems. I paid people to do that. What is your recommendation if somebody works with this stuff?
Unfortunately, mine is with the hot water systems. They're way more efficient, they're easier to use, the parts are easy to replace. The steam is a very dangerous animal, and it's not very friendly to work with.
I have one pipe steam in my house, and in my 30 years we've lived there, I've put in 2 boilers. And it's very nice. There's some people that steam is the only way to go.
Correct.
One pipe requires a lot of babysitting.
Right.
Like you said, the steam goes up in a vapor, and then it condensates and it comes back in the liquids. So it's supposed to go in half of the pipe when it goes. When it cools down, it's supposed to run back in the same pipe. So you gotta balance the vents, and I think we'd be better to get away from steam.
The other thing is the safety factor. With the steam system, you have those very hot radiators in the children's section, where the hot water system, you're actually gonna have more like an air handler, where it heats up a coil and it blows the air throughout the building.
Our manager, is he got any input on that? What are you thinking?
Or are you coming up with the other 250,000?
Right, and
I know what he was gonna ask.
Well, weren't you deferring your salary for?
I don't think we have enough information here to make any decisions.
and that's the thing, I can't give you a price because I don't know which system you guys wanna use. It's totally up to the council. I can't tell you whether the repairs that we make to that boiler are gonna last very long. It could last another 20 years. I'm not that guy.
I'll talk with Randy and we'll set up a on-site visit for council. And we'll do a little polling. We know who I'm gonna rely on for that. But we'll get up there and we'll look it all over. And obviously, we don't have much interest in bidding.
No, not right now.
So we're not in any rush. There's nobody chomping at the bit to do it, so.
No, the other thing, while we were doing that, we've been having heat issues here at City Hall. This year was probably one of the worst ones that I've had to deal with. 3 out of the 4 pumps had seal failures during the coldest snap that we had this year. So while we're doing the one up at the library, I asked them to put in a bid price for 2 brand-new boilers, all new pumps, and the plumbing to connect it to the air handler, which is new. The boilers are old, the air handler is new, so it'd be just replacing the boilers and the pumps. The price that Prime came up was $59,000, almost $60,000. And that includes a treatment system. The problem with our boilers and with the water in Ishpeming is it's so hard on the efficiency of the boilers. So I asked them to give me a price on this. As we were doing this, Semco actually reached out to us, and they have an incentive program right now where there's a $15,000 grant per unit. They just awarded Baraga schools, I believe, $30,000 towards their heat system upgrades. So it's something that we should actually think about doing. Not positive about the funding, that's Grant's caveat. But it's something that we should start looking at, replacing ours instead of always constantly repairing the things.
Total is $65,443 with the treatment system,
Yeah.
which is also required for the boiler warranty.
Yes, nobody's putting in a boiler without water softener and treatment.
So I'm not asking for a motion or anything, I'm just asking you guys to think about it, and then we'll bring it back to you guys again for more.
I was gonna say, Jesse, if you're out there, maybe you could help us in the next coming month identify any grants that might be available to Carnegie Libraries for repairs and upkeep. I know they're big ornate buildings. I don't know if you're aware of anything, and not trying to put you on the spot now, but I think that's gonna be, if we wanna do that better boiler option, I think right now grants are kind of what we're looking at. And
Our best friend.
luckily, we're heading into the summer, so maybe we'll have a little bit of time to try and identify a funding source for that.
Does the Carnegie Foundation do anything still?
I don't know, we'd have to probably look into it. I don't want to put anyone on the
No,
spot.
no, obviously
Yeah.
not, no. Okay, that was just an idea.
All right, so we will be in touch about a visit to probably the library and our basement here.
Sounds good.
We have a proposed amendment to the 25 fee schedule.
Do you want to do this or you want to do? So what, you're going to be, I'm sure you guys had a few contacts already. At last council meeting, we asked you if we were going to start enforcing a bunch of our ordinances, and one of them is the ready to serve fee. And the issue with that is there's too many people saying different things, so we wanted to standardize it with a permit, and you have that permit in front of you. It would actually be a checkoff of what you have to do, whether you have to have a licensed contractor, and what it exactly means to be disconnected from the system. And in the picture, you can see exactly where that disconnection has to happen in order for you to no longer be a part of the water system. What we're asking for is for you guys to allow us to change the fee schedule to have a $100 permit fee to allow us to start doing this. And as you've seen tonight, we do a lot with GIS. This permit and all other permits that we're going to be doing are now going to be attached to that property file. So if you're going to apply for a disconnection service, you'd fill out the permit, you pay the fee, the contract work would be done, and all of that information is going to be put into the GIS system.
Need a motion on that?
I need a motion for you to,
So I'll make a motion, we start that with the fee structure.
I'll motion and support. One other point for listeners on television or people in the audience is we have had every scenario under the sun. We've had people that dug their own hole and took the copper water line and twisted it and said, okay, I'm disconnected. That's not what the state and the city want to see. First of all, mostly, we want to see that house used as a house, not as a storage building. The other thing is, the lots where we've torn houses down, nobody controlled what they did with the utilities. Now, again, in the summer, we're gonna have some houses that are getting raised, and they will have to follow what Bill's talking about. They'll have a procedure, and this $100 fee will guarantee us that we're being contacted and it's done properly, and then we can discontinue billing. We don't need to be ready to serve. The burden is gonna fall back if they or a person bought the lot, said, I wanna build a house here. Well, now you gotta dig out to the street and hook this stuff back up. So it's a definitive, it's a thing I hate kicking the can, but we've been kicking the can. So that, a little background, Grant?
I was just gonna say, for anybody looking at purchasing a home or a lot in the city of Ishpeming, I would encourage you to do your research on what sort of utilities are under that vacant lot, that home, that garage that you're looking at. Certainly, please figure that stuff out, and we're happy to help you look into that before you make that purchase. It's important information. We want you to have it. I see a lot of people, especially with the vacant lots, they might purchase a piece of property, but they might not be aware of the obligations that come with that property. So just like any other real estate transaction, please do your homework, contact us. We're happy to help or point you in the right direction if you have any questions.
Mayor?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
If I could, I actually handled 2 phone calls from taxpayers that had questions with this, and for any other councilmen that are interested, I took their name, took their phone number, so I'm not guaranteeing you nothing, all I'm saying, I'm gonna go squeak the wheel to the guy who's gonna tell you how it is. I got with Grant, and in both cases, the same day, he was able to get back to and so there's one piece of information, is from the manager now, not from the councilman, or what I think might happen, or I'll take care of you. I never offered nothing other than give you your phone number. And I called Grant, and in both cases, the people actually, their complaints were valid. But the manager from City Hall handled the actual call back to them and gave them the right information. So I'm not saying something that maybe isn't quite right or something. And it handled very well both times. Grant handled it and it was favorable to the taxpayers, so just want to throw it out there. If you're, don't get yourself in a corner, give it to them to be.
No,
That's what
always.
you pay them for.
Always.
And can I bring up one more point about the ready to serve?
Sure.
And it's dictated in that picture, and we do have a picture downstairs. So if you buy a lot and say it has a garage and a house, and your intention is, or even if a land bank house, if the house was torn down and the garage is still standing, that's still going to be considered ready to serve. Because even if you were to dig out in the street and disconnect the water, the zoning does not allow you to have a storage unit in the residential area. The only way that you're going to be able to have that garage not be a ready-to-serve fee is if it's zone commercial, because you can have a storage unit in a commercial. It's the same thing when these people are buying the neighbor's house, thinking they're going to disconnect the water service but keep the house as a storage. That's still against zoning. This particular permit right here only pertains to the water ready to serve. If you want to
And that's
discuss.
a minimal charge, isn't it? They
Correct.
pay the 95 a month
Yep.
for that house, the
Yep.
extra house.
But if you want to keep the garage on a vacant land, you would have to disconnect the water, and then you would have to get it zoned by zoning department.
One final point too, I just want to point out, I'm fond of saying this and trying to educate our residents here. When you pay your water bills, you're actually not paying for water and you're not paying for sewer treatment. You're paying for the sanitary delivery of water. The actual amount of money that the city pays for the water, which we then pass on to you, is quite small in compared with the operating and maintenance costs. So the logic behind ready-to-serve charges is that whether you turn your tap on or not, we as an organization and as a community are responsible for maintaining safe drinking water infrastructure and safe sanitary sewer infrastructure. So you are gaining the benefit of those pipes in the ground, whether you turn that faucet on or not. And furthermore, again, when you get your water bill, don't think about the water you used, think about the delivery, the treatment, everything that goes into getting that water into your glass or into your bathtub. That's what you're paying for. That is why you see those ready-to-serve fees. If you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Grant. I have a motion and support. 2, a change to the proposed amendment for the 2025 fee schedule. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And last, certainly not least, we have an appeal for a denial of records that was placed by Mr. DeGabriel. On October 30th, 2024, I noticed a sticker on the door of City Hall for a special counsel. On the sticker, it says, "No open carry firearms." So I asked City Hall and the police department, 2 different emails, who put the sticker up there and why? I wanted to know if they did it written or verbal, who ordered it, who authorized it. This is what I wanted to know. The police department was gracefully responded instantly in my request. City Hall, nothing. So, then I said, okay, well, weeks went by, so I FOIL request the information. We have no record. So who verbally ordered the sticker on the door is what I want to know. Because somebody didn't read the open carry laws of our state. Where does it give you the authorization to put that on the door? That's what I want to know. Who did it? That's all I'm asking. Why can't anybody give me the answer? I asked Grant in a private conversation. His response to me was, I looked at the statute. That's because I emailed you the statute. So who did it?
I don't think it's even relevant information, but
This, what we have here tonight, Jeff, is a FOIA appeal. And the council is requested to weigh in on whether your FOIA was granted or denied. And from the communications we have, and I'm aware of this, the FOIA information does not exist because you won, the stickers were removed, you were correct, and the case was closed. So there are no documents. There was no written request to have them put up.
I understand. I just want to know who did it.
It doesn't matter.
I don't
who
think
did
that's
it, and it's
relevant
not
to the
relevant.
case of the FOIA.
Relevant to me.
Well, and it may be, but it's not relevant to the FOIA request. There's no written document from anyone, anywhere, that said, we want city buildings posted for non-carry. And any documents that said no guns or the sign or whatever were removed by our police chief in light of your emails or mail. But there are no documents, and there was never, that I'm aware of, any written direction to provide that. So council's position, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the FOIA was not denied, it does not exist, the information you requested. But everything has been removed?
Done deal.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
To deny it. Yeah. We'll need a motion to deny the request because of the facts.
Support.
We deny it.
We have a
Support.
motion by Councilman Kipling, supported by Councilman Chapman, that the FOIA request was denied because of no written documents, no documents. Yes.
And we recognize the statutes in the state of Michigan and the Second Amendment to the United States, so.
Absolutely. All right, we move on to mayor and council reports. Jason?
Yeah, so I just want to quickly thank the city staff for over the last 9 months of running the show. I've singled everybody out, but it's great to have seen our city run flawlessly over these last several months, so thank you. And welcome to Randy, our new city manager. We are excited to have you. I was impressed by our one-on-one meeting the other day, so looking forward to that. I just wanted to kind of do some quick update on the youth center. We've built up our steering committee quite a lot over the last month. We've reached out to some folks who can help us raise funds, who also have some connections through different foundations and other things of that nature. So we're going to be getting to work on that. The Boys and Girls Club will be in town on April 8th, and we will be, asking that members of council and city leadership be present for that Tuesday to hear from the Boys and Girls Club and understand what being a local, municipal partner means. We met, Rose and I met with Pat at Jasper Ridge one day to talk about the center. And I'm very thankful, Pat, that, you
Not a problem.
made the time, you're supportive, and that you appointed me to an official liaison. So over the next, what?
Where is the meeting with the Boys and Girls Club?
That's going to be at the VFW.
VFW.
Yeah.
What time?
That will be starting, I believe, at 9 a.m. We'll be releasing the official invitations to you guys all this coming, hopefully by the end of the week, or for sure by Monday, with our finalized itinerary and whatnot. And it'll be great if you guys can be there. It's going to be a labor of love. this project is, but we are building a team that we believe can do it. We're gonna go through a little bit of a rebrand. And that'll be launching soon. We've got, the help of Tia Trudgeon, that's gonna help us from TV6 be able to help us really relaunch successfully, as well as another person who's coming on board in the media. So I'll be updating the council on that soon. But does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, moving on. I just wanted to also bring up, and this was discussed at our Parks and Rec meeting, and I know it'll be coming up in a joint meeting, but I really want to get this out to you guys that, we really need to take a look at the lodge out there and figure out a way to restore and repair it. It's kind of in disrepair. And it's just a gorgeous historical building to Ishpeming. So if we can
We
kind
got
of
a
look into that.
recommendation from the committee, Parks Commission.
You'll get that at the joint meeting.
Yeah, you'll
Okay.
get that. So I just wanted to let everybody know to kind of chew on that. I'll be co-hosting Upper Michigan Today next Thursday as kind of a community guest. When Rose and I were on there, I jokingly said to Tia, I said, well, when are you gonna have me? And it's gonna be kind of a more Ishpeming focused show. So I plan to be talking to the mayor, hoping that we can come up with a way to have you on and that, so. On their Thursdays, while they're waiting to replace Elizabeth, they do like a person from the community, and the gentleman that was on there did a great job. So just looking forward to doing that and hopefully promoting our wonderful community.
All right, anything else?
Nothing from me.
All right,
I
thank
think
you.
I'm good.
Mr. Argle, I can do that tonight.
This past month, I was able to attend the Ishpeming Public School Board meeting. That was the only meeting that was scheduled. There was no DDA. We have a DDA meeting next week, so I'll have a report on that for next month's meeting. I'd like to thank Grant and the staff for the job they did over the past 9 months, transitioning us into our new city manager, Randy. And I appreciate the meeting we had this week. I'm glad to see your enthusiasm for the city and look forward to working with you on the council and on the DDA as well. Thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Kipling.
Bill, met with the cemetery board, and Bill already covered the GPS thing, so that's cool. Kind of working, thank Grant, that was a lot of fun working with you. Still be working with you on other stuff, but you and your staff made that transition pretty easy. And welcome to the Randy. We did the meet and greet, and a lot of people showed up. And there's another meet and greet for Randy, isn't it? What is the dates, and do you have that information at the Mather?
It's LSCP is sponsoring a meet and greet, and I believe it's the 27th.
LSCP is the
March?
sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So that'd be cool, business people and locals that want to go to the Mather Inn. And if you haven't been in the Mather Inn yet, it'd be a good idea to just go see the building and say hi. It's pretty cool. For those of us that knew the Mather Inn way back, it's pretty original yet. So the only other thing I'm working on is Marquette City and Marquette County has a mass casualty plan. Something big goes wrong, but we don't have one for the city of Ishpeming. It's been suggested that we get one.
Yeah.
I've already had the form set up here. We'll be working on that shortly, and I'm waiting for a councilman in Nagani where we can maybe do both cities at the same time. Once we get it done, we'll file that with the Marquette County Rescue, and so everybody will be on the same page, and so.
We did have a chance to reach out to Marquette City, so they're more than willing to help us anyways.
Yeah, we're not gonna reinvent the wheel. We'll steal it from everybody else. That's good. So that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Kurt. My report's gonna be kind of short. One of the things I want to mention is we have initiated a discussion with our former communications company, Siren, to get back into our 189 slides. And so anybody that's noticed that the old city manager is still referenced on there, and we were not able to get in, but we're working on that. So the rolling stuff on 189 will be updated soon, and we'll put our new city manager on there. I, as well as council, been meeting a lot with Randy, and I welcome him. We're very fortunate to have him. He is so far above our station in life that we're so lucky, and I did not tell him that until he signed the paper. As soon as he made the commitment, I told him what a great thing it is for our city. I'm looking forward to, I got a year and a half left roughly, and I think it's gonna be good. So I welcome him. I need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session.
No support.
Motion and support to go into closed session pursuant to Michigan Compiled Law 15-268C to consider strategy and negotiations connected with collective bargaining. Everyone in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good. We'll have a brief fiver here.
Hey, make sure you turn off 189.
Oh, roll call. Jason? Roll call.
Mayor Pat
I
Scanlon.
screwed up. Yes.
Councilmember Brett Argo.
Here?
Councilmember Jason.
Yes.
Evans, Councilmember Kirk Kibling.
Yes, still here.
Ready to pull your mics, please?
No hot lights.
Yeah, we don't play with the switches no more.
No hot takes?